internets! Hello, you lovelies. I hope this works this time. We tried to do a live last week and it inadvertently went vertical and it was a whole thing, but this is the second live of this week's in comics, so I hope you are here and I hope it is working. It looks like it is. It is very sunny here in my apartment, so pardon any heat and chaos from this being on my phone, but it is a huge week to discuss what's going on because just today it broke that we have a date for Spider-Man 4. Earlier in the week, we got some Blade news. We also had New York Comic-Con last week, which is why this video is a little later than normal, where I got to see all sorts of absolute DC Comics news. I also got to attend the Sony panel. I've also seen Venom, so there's lots of Venom coverage all over this page just generally, but I'm going to discuss the box office, going to discuss the Rotten Tomatoes, but mainly going to focus on the lots and lots of comic stuff that has been moving around, the actual comics themselves, as well as that big Spider-Man 4 announcement. Now, if you are new to this page, I don't do lives a lot, but I'm trying to bring This Week in Comics to be a live show, and the way this works is I go through all the news, and then I review all of last week's comics. So I read about 50 to 60, sometimes 70 comics a week, and I try to bring you my 9 favorites, and those 9 I try to make more approachable to new readers. So if comics seem intimidating to you, the goal of this show is to get you to enjoy the actual books themselves. And I also talk about the comic book adaptation news. And in this week, I get to talk about the actual news within the comic world because it was just New York Comic Con. Then at the very end of the show, I do the previews of what's to come the current week in comics. So the books you can pick up right now on the shelves, the ones that I haven't even read yet. And then after all of that, I answer each and every one of your super chats, every single one of them. I will not end the stream until I've hit every single one of those. So I try to keep an eye on the live chat, but it is obviously moving pretty quick. So if there's a question you absolutely want to ask, I will scroll all the way back up and try to catch all the super chats at the end. I hope that makes sense. It looks like people can see and hear me. I was hoping this worked out in the right way with sound and everything else. So let me know in the chat if this sounds good. I see that it's horizontal. I'm very happy. Without further ado, this is This Week in Comics. Let's kick it off with Spider-Man. It was just revealed today officially that Spider-Man 4 is going to be coming out on July 24th. 2026. That seems very far away, but somehow it really isn't. That's only 19 plus 2, 21 months away. That is less than 2 years away. That is gonna happen before we know it. Time's moving oh so very fast. And it is really cool to see this announcement come from Tom Holland himself. This guy went from, oh no, I shouldn't have said that, to, hey, I'm producing on this. This is my baby. I've been Spider-Man for a long time. I want to handle this rollout. And I love that for him. He's also getting to promote something that means a lot to him, this non-alcoholic beer. So it's really cool to see everything go from controlled chaos to control. The guy gets to promote something that means a lot to him, become a businessman, while also using this giant news to further his company that he's done with Zendaya, his lady. That's all like really wholesome to me. I love when people get to make their personal ventures tie into their other work, and that's what this Spider-Man announcement is. In addition to the July 24th confirmation of release date, it was officially confirmed that Daniel Destin Creton is going to be directing the film. Now, Daniel Destin Creton was on the first Shang-Chi. He was supposed to be on Avengers 4, but that was when Avengers 4 was going to be a very Kang-centric film. Originally, Avengers 4 was going... Sorry. 5? No, 4. Avengers... 5. Wow, math is crazy because Age of Ultron was 2, and then we had Infinity War and then Endgame. Avengers 5 was originally going to be Kang Dynasty, and that seemed to be tying pretty directly into Shang-Chi. It was seemingly being set up so that the 10 Rings and all of those elements were going to tie Shang-Chi, and I imagine Miss Marvel and the Bangles and all that pretty closely to Kang, but with all the stuff happening with Jonathan Majors, it seems to have switched over to Avengers 5 being a Doom-centric tale, and instead of the Kang movie, it's become a Doom movie, and instead of him directing, it's become the Russos directing Avengers 5 and 6 with Doomsday, and of course Avengers Secret Wars, which is the project the Russo brothers said from the beginning is what they wanted to direct most, what they wanted to come back to do. So this actually kind of worked out for everyone because I think Daniel Destin Creton is going to be perfect at directing a Spider-Man movie. I think that his style is super acrobatic, it's super larger than life, but it's intentional and there's a flavor to it. And I think what I want to see most is some web slinging, some fighting, some acrobatics, much like Shang-Chi, but with the Z-axis, worth all the different use of space that Spider-Man can use. So I'm really excited for this choice, and he's really good at getting personality out of characters. He's very good at directing actors. I think this is a delightful choice, and timing-wise, July 24th is right after one of the Avengers films and right before the next. So it's kind of got that far from home sweet spot. It also allows this movie to be very important to the greater MCU, which I'm sure both Sony and Marvel like. So I think overall this is a really good choice. I think that it is, math is crazy counting to 5. It's very hard. I forgot about Age of Ultron is really what happened. Counting to 5, it proves difficult when you're this tired. This is my 4th show of the day. But I do think this is a really good spot for Spider-Man. I think it's a good spot for Sony, good spot for Marvel. My only concern, my literal only concern, is that this lends credence to it being a giant multiversal film, because it will be coming after Doomsday and before Secret Wars, and it's right after Doomsday. So this might be something that takes place in a battle world or something that takes place in a crazy multiversal location. I imagine this means that Sony got what they wanted with getting Toby and Andrew and it being a bigger film, not a smaller contained film. And that does kind of make the end of Spider-Man No Way Home a bit null and void. So I would like to see a contained Spider-Man. I don't know if that's what we're going to get. I would also love to see Andrew Garfield back. So if it means we get Andrew Garfield back, that it's, worth it. I just was really hoping for a street level Spidey at some point, but we'll see if that's what this ends up being. Time will tell. We don't know yet. We just know the director and the release date. That is all the Spider-Man 4 stuff we know so far, and I'm very happy, like I said, for Tom Holland. Staying with the Marvel films, we also got news this week that the Blade film that was supposed to be out in October of next year has been moved off the calendar entirely. This is a movie that has been juggled through release dates for 5 years. 2019, July 2019, it was confirmed that we had Blade via that amazing Hall H announcement with Mahershala, and just that hat, that moment was huge. I was in the room. It was insane. But that's kind of the last news we got that was confirmed, because we've had directors confirmed, we've had writers confirmed, but then they'd fall away pretty quickly. And this movie release date kept moving. So now that it's pulled indefinitely, I'm hoping it's one of two things. One, they don't want to make any announcements until it's locked in. They don't want to make any decisions till it's absolutely certain. Or two, they're going to reframe this and it's going to be part of the Midnight Suns, and then maybe things after Secret Wars might be a new Blade, or they do that crazy Logan Wesley Snipes-esque Blade and make a Blade 4. I don't know, but this being pulled off the schedule means they're not going to rush it, and or it is maybe a TBD. I don't know if we get Blade, especially Mahershala Ali as Blade with 5 years. He was in his mid-40s when they cast him, and now he's in his early 50s. And if you're signing on for a trilogy, the dude's in incredible shape. And the dude it does not look 51, but it would be hard to play this role into your 60s. But Hugh Jackman, he's doing it till he's 90. So we'll see. Maybe. I'm going to stay optimistic. I love Mahershala, but I also really love Wesley Snipes. I also really love the character. I also really love the Midnight Suns. So I'm going to stay hopeful, keeping an eye on the story very closely, but it is official that it is not coming out somehow. I don't know how it would have, but it's not coming out next year in October. Still hoping for a smaller budget, kind of contained horror-esque story, but we'll see what they end up doing after all this shakes out. Rumor is it wasn't going to be multiversal, and they're trying to focus on multiversal stuff leading up to Secret Wars, which also kind of lends credence to the idea that Spider-Man 4 will be multiversal. So time will tell with Blade. Let's talk Sony while we're talking Spider-Man. I was lucky enough to go to the Sony panel at New York Comic Con. I got to attend the entirety of its glory. And before we get to the comics that happened at New York Comic Con, I do want to give some credit to Sony for having a really cool presentation. Josh Horowitz, a buddy of mine, hosted the panel itself, and it opened with Kraven, went into Karate Kid, and closed out with Venom. Now, the Kraven segment showed us not just the entire opening of the film. We got the opening with the opening credits. We saw the entire first 7 minutes of the film, which looked awesome. It was super intense, super parkour, very heavily leaning into the R rating. It did all the things it was trying to convey in the marketing, but I think better. And the elements of he's a humanitarian, he is a vegetarian that hunts hunters is not great when you're describing the character in an abstract, without context quote, but when you see it and there's honor in his hunting, there's honor in the animals he hunts. Kraven has always had honor in the animals he hunts. So the idea that these poachers are poaching animals and not giving them their dignity, I like the idea of him poaching the poachers. So that's what it looks like it's going to be. And I also like that he's using animal traps to take out these humans, like using a bear trap to the face and all that hyper violence is really well used here. It's very John Wick in nature. It's crazy, literally in nature, but also in nature. And I really liked the footage personally. Then we got to hear Aaron Taylor Johnson talk about his love of the character. The director, J.C. Chandor, clearly loves the character. I really loved what he had to say overall about why he wanted to make a film like this, what he got out of the character, why it was different. His whole vibe was fantastic. And then they showed us another clip after they had a bunch of Kraven cosplayers go up on stage, which was really cute. Big selfie with Aaron Taylor Johnson's Kraven. But then they showed us another clip, which none of them had seen yet. The director had, but Aaron Taylor Johnson had. No one had at Sony. And it was this really cool montage of a probably second or maybe early third act sequence in the film. And it was even more violent, leaned really heavily into the hunt. And it felt like Kraven. The way he moves, his parkour sensibility, but also like the way he's feral and moves through the jungle. It was rad. I've been excited for this film from the jump. I'm one of the people that really enjoys the insanity of these 90s and early 2000s feeling, Marvel Sony collaborations. I do think it's going to be a hard R version of that. So if you've not liked any of them, I don't know if this one's going to get you, but it might. It might be the thing that sways people into believing in this insanity, but it's definitely in that vein. And then we got to see Karate Kid. Now, this is a show about comics, so I'm only going to talk about it briefly, but it was amazing to see Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan on screen together. It was so cool to see two branches, one tree come together of these two iconic franchises all formed around Karate Kid. It was just, as a fan of the originals in the 80s and 90s and as a fan of Cobra Kai, really special moment, really beautiful trailer. I'm looking forward to it being released to the public. Lastly, we got Venom. And it was, Juno Temple, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Kelly Marcel, Tom Hardy, Josh hosting. And it was just so charming to see how much they love the fandom, how much Tom loves Kelly Marcel and how much he was like supporting her, how important it was for him to help a first-time director to get a male-led film, like not just like girls directing girls, but like a big tentpole film. Woman director was really exciting. He was very proud of that, and he's been with this collaborator for 20 years. I mean, they've been working together since their 20s, and she's worked on all the Venoms. So for her to be the co-writer and first-time director. Now, that said, you'll see in my spoiler review, I do discuss some of the highs and lows of that first-time director element. Some of it works, some of it doesn't, but that's for that video. Go check out my spoiler review. My non-spoiler I posted Wednesday, my spoiler I posted this morning. But the main thing I liked out of the panel was we already knew the movie was coming out in a couple days. It felt like a celebration of Venom. It felt like a celebration of the journey Tom Hardy has had. It felt like Tom Hardy getting to be around the fans, and he stayed. I stayed another 20 minutes because I had a meeting to have with Sony. I was talking with some of the folks over there, but Tom was there another 45 minutes after I left because it was the last panel. So the dude signed every single autograph, took selfies with everyone, literally stayed and just met and greeted and vibed. And I have a lot of respect for that. His love and joy for Venom and Eddie Brock and this universe made me so happy. And his love of the fans was clear. It was really special. So I just wanted to give some love, giving flowers to Venom and to Tom Hardy himself, because it is absolutely insane. I am going to get to the next news section of stories, but I'm going to quickly look at the live chat. And remember, any super chats I will be sure to answer. So you've seen me do lives on other channels before. It's kind of going to be that jab where I try to get as many as I can, but I'll see what I can get to by the end. Happy Friday indeed, Doe Eyes, Christian Unpronounceable. Hello, Douglas McKinney, Darth Vader himself. Oh no, I revealed her identity too, Robin. Robin helped, and then I alley-ooped Douglas. Galagos from Boston. Hello, good sir. Good to hear from you. Catherine, a lot of OGs in the chat. A lot of names I recognize from back in the day. Scott Fitzgerald, what up, sir? People discussing the Blade. Into the Sony news, into where I'm at now. We got Big D. I'm a very busy man. I'm very tired. Uncontained Koi rant is happening. Charlie Flicks. That is definitely what's going on. Stream of consciousness, commentary through the camera lens. That is right. Deadpool for life on the shirt. Let's see. Spider-Man Noir pics are dope, but I don't share paparazzi photos because I think there is very little worse than a paparazzi. Human vultures are not to be celebrated, and art is meant to be seen as artists have finished it. Let's see. Koi is the only man with the goatee I trust. I appreciate that. Tyler Adams, hello, sir. Shri, Indiana Jake, and we are up to date, RWP. All right, let's dive into the comics themselves. Very excited about the comic news out of New York Comic-Con, and it should not feel as rare to have big news in comics, but a lot of people don't cover them as much, and that is what this show is trying to be. So if you like comics themselves, please, as always, leave a comment. Please share this video. Please like this video, because movie content gets thousands of views. Comic content gets dozens of views, and I really want to raise awareness for the comics, and that is right here. And I want to kick this off with Vertigo coming back. Vertigo was one of my favorite imprints in the history of comics. Vertigo is a genius imprint within DC that leaned more adult, that leaned more, in my opinion, mystical. It's a more mature imprint at DC that really took some bold swings, and I love it. It went away a few years ago. It is back. Vertigo is officially returned. If you look up Vertigo Comics, you'll see a lot of your favorite and some of the most iconic stuff out of DC under that imprint. I'm very happy to have it back because it is something that, like DC Black Label, I can hone in on and be like, I know I'm going to pick this up. It's a new Vertigo book. I'm going to try it out. I think this is really smart on DC's part. So check out that Vertigo announcement and check out what Vertigo books are coming. Also, from the world of DC, I want to talk about the Absolute books they had come out because Absolute is killing it right now. If you haven't read Absolute Batman, I talked about it last week. I actually talked about it the last 2 weeks when I previewed it, and then once I read it, both times I was just enamored with this book. Absolute Wonder Woman #1 came out yesterday. 2 days ago. Today's Friday. Came out 2 days ago. I have not read it yet. I just caught up on this week's books, which is why today I'm going to be reviewing last week's book so I can catch you all up in my favorites. But today, after this, hopefully tonight, I'll be reading Absolute Wonder Woman. And if it's, half as good as that Batman, this universe is in such good shape, and I hear it's even better. And then we've got Absolute Superman coming very, very soon. The art looks amazing. The story, I hear, is sensational. I know some folks in the industry that got their hands on it. So you got the Holy Trinity coming out of the gate. So I was really curious what was going to follow that, and they used New York Comic Con to not only aggressively showcase how glorious those books are, they literally, before movie panels and before TV panels, usually it's just commercials from major studios, and it's kind of like, come on, this is New York Comic Con. This is a Comic Con. This time, DC pulled out all the stops and giant posters and huge projection of these Absolute books were in front of damn near every panel I was in. And that made me so very happy. I would love to see Marvel kind of has the, foothold on San Diego, especially with Hall H and what they've developed over the last 15 years. That's kind of their hometown con. I would love to see DC make New York Comic Con their hometown con. And James Gunn did debut Creature Commandos stuff there. All the comic stuff is very strong. And it seemed like Marvel started listing, and there was some comic stuff in the Daredevil panel, which we'll talk about in a bit. Technically, that was a Daredevil comic panel, but once Charlie Cox and D'Onofrio showed up, it was pretty surreal to see comic book imagery behind the actors, and that's the start. I want more of this, but I digress. Absolute was all over the place. It was covering walls. It was posters. It was being discussed, and much like San Diego Comic-Con, with just that DC bullet, it changed the conversation and tone of the con. So they announced on the Absolute line, we are getting a Absolute Martian Manhunter in March. It is going to be from Denise Camp and Javier Castor, and the art is really cool. It's got this retro futuristic vibe. It looks very intense and angular and surreal, much like Martian Manhunter. We also got an Absolute Green Lantern announcement, which is really exciting. We got our first cover shown, and it's going to be written by Al Ewing, who said, quote, "This book will give you troubles. It is a horror take on Green Lantern, and you do not know who the Green Lantern is." So this book is going to feature Hal Jordan. It's going to feature John Stewart. Guy Gardner's in it. And we don't know who the titular Green Lantern is, and it's a horror book. That is very exciting. And Al Ewing, he reimagined Hulk for horror. So the guy knows his horror and reimagining, especially green heroes, into that vein. And the art by Janoy Lindsay is absolutely gorgeous. Highly recommend you check some of those images out. And eventually, guys, I'm going to have a StreamYard, like a deck, so I can throw in images. But for now, I'm just trying to get quality camera sound. We're getting there. This page I only restarted in April. It's already grown quite a bit. We got over 100 people in the chat right now. This makes me so happy. As this thing grows, I'm going to get a studio. We're going to add in live images. It's going to come. But for now, I just so appreciate you guys bearing with me without the tech, because these images, I highly recommend you Google, and one day they'll be in here. And finally, in addition to Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern, Absolute Flash was confirmed. And this is maybe my favorite announcement from the new Absolute line. This is going to be from Jeff Lemire, who I adore, absolute genius of a writer. And my favorite part of it, Nick Robles, awesome on art, very excited. But who Flash is Wally West. And this isn't Wally West, legacy Wally West, dealing with the Speed Force and all the old canon. This is brand new teenage Wally West as the Flash. Yes, please. So that book I'm so excited for. 3 new Absolute books starting in March. So right now you can pick up Wonder Woman as of 2 days ago, Batman as of 2 weeks ago, Superman next month, and then in March, tons of new Absolute stuff. This line is killing it. If you collect comics, I highly recommend you get on these ASAP because they've been selling out within minutes. I actually don't have a copy of Absolute Batman. My stores, all of my stores sold out literally before I could get to them. So I'm going to be hunting down all of these alongside you. Highly recommend you hunt down anything from the Absolute line. It is so consistent, so incredible. And these number ones have no continuity. You can read any of these without ever having read a comic in your life. This is like that moment in the year 2000 when Ultimate Spider-Man started and everyone's like, this is where you get on comics. This right here is where you get on comics. And the Ultimate stuff we're going to talk about at Marvel is also a great jumping on point if you're a Marvel folk. But yeah, very, very excited about all those Absolute books. Let's go on over to Marvel and talk about their big Ultimate announcement. They announced Ultimate Wolverine. Now, Ultimate Wolverine is going to be coming in January of 2025, so a mere 2 months away, and it is written by Chris Condon with art by Alessandro Cappuccio, and it is going to be not Logan, but it seems like it's going to be a Winter Soldier Wolverine. I don't know what that means yet. I've only heard whispers. I wasn't able to go to this panel. Very excited what that looks like. The art is dope. I'm very intrigued. I love all the Ultimate stuff at Marvel. The OG stuff from 2000 and most of the stuff from the last year. Ultimate Spider-Man is far and away my favorite Spider-Man book in the last 20 years, and this Ultimate Spider-Man book that's on issue 10 this week is perfect. Like, all 10 issues have been amazing. I think that Ultimate Black Panther is also very, very strong, and I think that there are elements of the Ultimate books that are really strong, and Ultimates itself, like the Avengers book, is great. Haven't found my way into Ultimate X-Men yet. I just don't identify with the characters. I'm not connecting to that book as much as I want to be. I'm hoping Ultimate Wolverine is able to loop me in to feel that X-Men vibe, so I'm very excited for this book personally. We also got confirmation on the non-Ultimate side that we have a huge fallout from Venom War. Venom War is the giant fall event that is about to be over at Marvel, and when all the dust settles, it was confirmed that Eddie Brock is going to be our new Carnage. That is absolutely insane. What a weird medley. I don't know how it's going to happen. We're going to find out together, but confirmation, Carnage lives on, and it's Eddie Brock. And we're also going to get a Spider-Verse. All of the glory, from the comics, Dan Slott written stuff, got turned into those animated movies, versus Venomverse, which is a spinoff of the Spider-Verse with all the different Venoms and whatnot. So if you like event on events, spinoffs on spinoffs, boy oh boy, Spider-Verse versus Venomverse. And finally, the last bit of news, which was revealed during a panel with Frank Miller, which made me happy, them giving him his flowers for Daredevil, which surprised people with Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox coming out, was a panel that announced a brand new collaboration between Charles Soule, one of the great Daredevil writers. I would say Daredevil's like one of the most consistent of all comic runs ever. Like, if you go back to the beginning of Daredevil, rarely are there bad writers on it. Like, that's the character everybody seeks out. Whether it's Frank Miller, Chip Zdarsky, Kevin Smith, Charles Soule, the art is also very consistent. Like Ron Gardy, Marco Cicchetto, Frank Miller. But it's always insane to see people have new spins on it. And this one's cool because it's like an old man Daredevil. It is called Daredevil, A Cold Day in Hell. Charles Soule, one of the greats, is back on it with Steve McNiven, who literally illustrated Old Man Logan, who is the man responsible for that giant surge in Old Man blank popularity. Steve McNiven also is one of my favorite Spider-Man artists and was the storyboard artist on The Matrix. A lot of people don't know the guy literally storyboarded my tied for first favorite movie. McNiven's a genius. Teaming up with Charles Soule. This sounds awesome. So that is a book coming out of Marvel that I'm very excited for early next year. So we got all the Absolute stuff out of DC. We got the trifecta of Venom event and Ultimate Wolverine and very cool sounding Daredevil book from Marvel. Big con for comics themselves. I know a lot of people were complaining it wasn't comic heavy. I respectfully disagree. It was so comic heavy. That was mainly the news that I was paying attention to. So I'm personally very excited for all that comic book goodness to come out of there. All right, that is going to do it for the news, you lovely. We talked Blade, we talked Spider-Man, we talked Absolute Comics, we talked Kraven and the Sony panel. Let's talk about the comics themselves. I'm going to quickly check through the chat real quick, and then I'm going to pull out my top 9 comics from last week, the week of October 16th. It was an incredible week in books, including a new Ultimate Spider-Man, and then we'll preview the books that are out right now that just dropped on October 23rd. But first, let me just check on the chat real quick. People seem very excited about all of the goodness. Clay Crawford, I did see a little Braun tweet, and I responded to it, and it's gotten some traction, and seeing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people talk about comics on Twitter makes me so happy. You're right. It is so good to raise that awareness, and LeBron doing it makes me happy. I also love that he's trying to reach out and figure out more ways to connect to comics. LeBron James being a Batman fan just generally makes me happy. People being excited about Karate Kid makes me very happy. Who's on the pillow in the lower corner? This is Mr. Robert Downey Jr. This is Hugh Jackman. This is Robert Downey Jr. I've got a bunch of these because I like everything in my place to be art. Hi! Not literally, though. I'm not sure what that was in relation to. Koi making the K sound. I do that. Wouldn't have movies without the comics. You're goddamn right. That's why I'm trying to always raise awareness for them. Thank you for noticing. I'd cry if DC made NYCC their home. I think it'd be smart. We'll see. And that also gives us summer and fall as two different panels. I think they should obviously go to San Diego, but I'd love if they, like, DC Studios kind of anchored in New York Comic Con as their home. Let's see. Christian Unpronounceable. Thank you very much for the love on the current stream as it evolves. Thank you for everyone commending the growth on the page. If you're watching this for the first time, hit that subscription bell. I am approaching 40K, and that means a lot to me, guys. I started this in April with 22K. That it was a site that I used through the pandemic, and we've grown like 1.5 times the size in just a few months. So let's keep that going. I really, really, truly means the world to me. Absolute line is like DC's answer to the Ultimate line. It's an all-new imprint, brand new origins to these characters, modernized, incredible creative teams. It is a brand new jumping on point at DC, no continuity required. Highly, highly recommend it. RWP Absolute is ultimate, for lack of a better term. Campbell 412, I'm actually excited for Downey Jr. Doom. I'm excited for you. I am not personally excited, but I'm excited to be proven wrong. Christian Unpronounceable, just handling the chat back and forth. I appreciate it. Tom Holland will do this till he's 90. I don't personally think so, TJM. I think he's going to probably do another trilogy, maybe a few more Avengers films, and I think he just wants to be like a dude with an awesome wife. I think he just wants to vibe, man. Yes, much love to everyone in the chat. Today in Comics, great name, and what is up to you? Hayden Sintar, I appreciate you. Robert Pruser is seeing Venom 3 tomorrow, and I am excited for you. I want to know what you think. Comment on one of my reviews and let me know what you thought. All right, let's talk about the comics themselves, you lovelies. These are the books that were released on October 16th. These are my favorite 9 comics out of the 52 that I read. First up, we're going to Batman and Robin Year 1. This is yet another book from Mark Waid, who has been crushing it on The Brave and the Bold, not The Brave and the Bold, on World's Finest, as well as a bunch of other DC books. He's so good at reinvigorating characters and making them modernized, but still classic. And this one is a bop. Chris Samney on art, who is killing it on Firepower, amongst other things. This book is a delight. If you want a very approachable Batman and Robin book, this is literally Year 1. Could not be more approachable. Get after it. All right, next up, we've got Catwoman number 69. Catwoman is a character that I hold near and dear to my heart. If you can see that far behind my head, Catwoman right there, Joel Jones art. And when written right, I think she is absolutely a force of nature. When written wrong, very easy character to mess up. This book is a great jumping on point where she is crushing it. Very interesting take on Selena Kyle. Very captivating new direction they're taking the character. Great jumping on point. Highly recommend it. Next up, Department of Truth number 26. Don't say it. Don't say it. Giggity. Christian Unpronounceable. I know what you're thinking with Catwoman 69. I'm on to you. Department of Truth, number 26. If you follow this page, if you know me, you know I adore the Department of Truth. I think it's one of the best modern comics on the shelves. I think it is my favorite new comics in Saga. It is about a world where if people believe in something enough, it becomes true. So there's a Department of Truth that is trying to stop truths from manifesting. Like if enough people believe in Sasquatch, Sasquatches just exist. It is told from Lee Harvey Oswald's perspective a lot of the time as the lead of the book, which is a fascinating twist and turn. They just got through an interesting JFK, or they're in the middle of an interesting JFK arc. This issue is about Marilyn Monroe, and Marilyn Monroe, after the Happy Birthday, Mr. President moment, being incepted with dreams of having an affair with the president that she did not actually have, but enough people believe she did that it became true, and what it's like from the POV of someone falling into a new truth. It is a fascinating book. Highly recommended. She's brand new to this arc. It's real good. She just appeared. It's her first issue. Marilyn Monroe, issue 26. Fiance is in for this book. Look at that sales pitch. Just got someone doesn't even read comics in for a comic. Goddamn right. You're welcome, Image Comics. See what I just did? Next up, Miles Morales number 25. This is a really cool, big, oversized issue. 25 is kind of like an anniversary in comics, 25, 50, 75, even though it doesn't line up with a yearly thing because that'd be 12, 24. I digress. This issue 25, big old boy, is Miles Morales has been a vampire for a bit after the events of the big summer event over Blood Hunt. This is him trying to deal with that vampirism while also training with Black Panther and getting a really cool Wakandan suit. This ties into Blade. This ties into Wakanda. This ties into all sorts of lore. And it's a really cool team-up issue with Black Panther and Miles Morales. Next up, a new number 1. If you are enjoying the new era of X-Men, highly recommend Mystique number 1. This is from the homie Declan Shalvey. He is writing and illustrating while doing like 5 other books, including Terminator over at Dynamite, including Thundercats, including his own book, Old Dogs. The dude is just the busiest man, and he's writing and illustrating this, and it's sensational. It's a really cool spy thriller. It's a great espionage book. It's putting Mystique in the limelight in a way that doesn't overshadow the X-Men. It's actually a good Mystique book, not a Mystique in the X-Men book, and it's just really cool Nick Fury-esque espionage with the great Mystique. Ultimate Spider-Man number 10. You guys, this book is a suspense thriller that's almost all dialogue. And you don't know that the beat at the end is going to be impactful until you get to the last page and go, God, they were leading to that the whole time and I didn't even see it. It is an Uncle Ben who's still alive because Ultimate Spider-Man here, the original Ultimate Spider-Man, or the original Spider-Man, is about power and responsibility. He gets power at a young age and has to learn responsibility. Here, they turn that on his head because he's a 35-year-old man with kids who's very responsible that has to learn how to have power. And I love that inversion. And I love that in 2024, we need a very different Spider-Man than we did in 2000. This book is Uncle Ben's alive because he didn't get bit by the spider as a teenager. So that moment didn't happen. Uncle Ben works at a paper called The Paper with Jonah Jameson. And here it's about corporate oversight and the way money gets used to hide truths and about what newspapers represent and what, journalism is. And all of that leads to a really incredible moment and a really cool Green Goblin moment. Read this issue. I don't want to give anything away, but it's really special, and it's a suspense thriller, largely dialogue-based, and just look at that cover. Come on, that's beautiful. All right. Next up, we've got Uncanny X-Men number 4, another absolutely stunner of a cover. This reminds me of like the 80s and 90s X-Men runs where I would just stop and stare at the cover. This book is written by Gail Simone, who is one of the greats with X-Men and Deadpool especially, and illustrated by Marquez, who I really... classic line work. Every line Marquez puts on a page looks like, oh, that's what the character is. Like, that's so iconic. That's exactly them. And this duo is introducing all new X-Men, all new villains, and doing it in a way that they feel like we've known them the whole time. They don't feel like they're being shoehorned in. This feels like an X-Men book, like a classic X-Men run. It's only an issue 4, very approachable, easy to jump on. Highly recommend this run of Uncanny X-Men. And my last of my top 9 of the week is going to be Wonder Woman number 14. If you guys know me, you know I love Tom King. He did one of my favorite runs on Batman. He did Mr. Miracle, which is my favorite DC book of all time. Now he is crushing it on Wonder Woman. This book deals with DC all in, and it deals with really interesting narratives around her origin, her specific origin, and also Steve Trevor. Steve Trevor is a very interesting fixture in this book. And if you know Tom King, you know he plays with time in really interesting ways. This book does a lot of fun, timey-wimey stuff and enhances the Steve Trevor legacy and her origins. So highly recommend. Those 9 books are my favorite of the week. It is so impossibly hot. I'm sweating a bit. I'm sorry if this HD is translating far too well, but highly recommend those books. It is late October. It is a week till Halloween, and it is 85 degrees and like 91 in my apartment. We're all doomed, but comics are great. That's what matters. So I'm going to check on the chat real quick, and then I'm going to grab the books that are coming out this upcoming week. And we're going to mix it up a bit. We're going to do them by popularity of what is most hyped, because I really enjoy talking about the glory of what's to come, but I usually do it as sorted by the publisher. This time I'm just going to read the books I'm most excited for in chaos order because there's so much from Marvel, DC, Image. So I'm just going to read you guys the books. These are the ones that are available on the 23rd, so 2 days ago at your local comic shop right now. But I did see a super chat come in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I say this so you guys understand the context, but not like, please. Literally, the subscribe going up and the comments and the like, all that stuff is what makes doing these videos worth it. I read 20 to 30 hours worth of comics a week, and then this video takes probably about an hour to prep. When I was editing it, it took about 6 hours to edit. So it'd be 20 hours plus the hour to film plus the 6 hours to edit. So we're talking like nearly 30 hours, and they make about $12. So it's literally like pennies on the hour. But what I love is that every single person that tells me, oh, I picked up this comic because you recommended it, or oh, I got into this hobby, that means more to me than money ever could. But believe me, buying comics is expensive if you read as many as I do. And believe me, I have so many shows I do that the energy's gone. So every super chat means the fucking world. Really, truly appreciate it. This one is from Brian L. Redmond, who says, this was brought up in a different video, but I wanted to double down on my gratitude for you bringing a positive space to a realm where it's not always rewarded. Greatly appreciate you and your page. Dude, thank you. Thank you. I really try. Even when I don't like stuff, I always try to see the merit in art. I always want art to be rewarded, even when it's not exactly for me or not something that I identify with, or if it's art that I just don't connect to. If you finish a comic or a book or a movie or a show, if you finish a painting, if you finish an art, you've done more than 99% of people. If you've ever written anything, you know how hard it is to finish. If you've ever filmed anything, you know how impossible it is for everyone to be on the same page. If you ever tried to make a comic, that's a lot of work. So it's all a miracle to me. Any celebration of art is a gift. So I'm always going to be positive about it. And people hate that. They hate it. And my page grows slower for it. Whenever I don't enjoy a movie, that video does so much better, even when I'm being delicate. Negativity is rewarded because negativity is easy. Hating something is very easy. It's monosyllabic. It's just, don't like. And it's easier for people to jump on that and go like, me too, hate it. Whereas liking something's vulnerable. It exposes a piece of your soul. It's connection. So I will much rather have a page that grows slowly and gathers a great community like yourself and gathers a live chat I don't have to worry about than have a rapidly growing page of hate and vitriol and bigotry and stupidity and ignorance. So this page is growing quickly for the fact that it's good, like quality of celebration, and I really appreciate that. And this week in comics has meant a lot to me to do. We got another one from Charlie Flicks Fix. Koi for always being an afternoon snack. LMAO. You know, I'm currently a well-done snack here in my 91-degree apartment, so I appreciate that very much. You are a constant supporter of The Real Rejects, which always means a lot to me, so I appreciate that very much. And for you supporting my own page and following me over here, it means a lot because I love working at Real Rejects. I love working at the various cons I do. I like teaming up with Christian at Capes and Cowls. Like, I like what I get to do. But I never thought I'd start my own page. I never thought I would invest this time, and this has meant more to me. Every single follower, every single super chat, every single comment has meant a lot to me because it's for my page, and like that is for me. So thank you. I didn't know how much this would mean to me doing my own thing. So this is like the 6-month anniversary of that. 2 days ago, actually. 2 days ago was 6 months of me growing this page. So this is a little celebration, and I appreciate that very, very much. Truly. That means the world. Christian Unpronounceable, I am so happy and feel honored to identify as one of your fans. Hashtag Koi Boys. Christian Unpronounceable. Another OG, this one from the new Rockstars era. That is another channel I love jumping on when the schedules line up. Christian Unpronounceable, you are always such an advocate for me in that chat, in this chat. A sweetheart at Real Rejects. Thank you very, very much, kind sir. All right, that means a lot to me. Robert Brewster, you guys are coming in hot and heavy. I appreciate it. If you had to make a movie off of a Valiant comic character story, what would it be? You can also choose Image, Dark Horse, etc. I would do Bloodshot. I would do Bloodshot too. I think Bloodshot is a great jumping on point. That's why they keep trying with Bloodshot. I think Valiant has a lot of good stuff, but Bloodshot's a really good anchor and it's very approachable. But let's talk another one that you didn't suggest. At Image, I would love to see Saga done. I honestly, like, and this is sacrilege, but Image is one of the most consistent publishers in the history of comics right now. This current Image era is one of the most prolific and consistent I've ever seen at any comic company ever, whether it's Grommets or Saga or Department of Truth or any of their new books that are just starting up. I always look forward to Image #1s and Boom #1s because they're so interesting. So I'd love to see a Grommets get made, but I think Department of Truth or Saga, because they're like my favorite books on the shelves, would be my Image picks for sure. Dark Horse wise, I would say the homies, David Desmalchian's Count Crowley, because it's got that Crypt Keeper meets Universal Monster Movies flavor, and I think there's not enough new joyous horror films. Like Spooky Season is fun, but I love when it's like spooky with a side of like family adventure, like Casper and Addams Family, and that genre of film is always the thing I find like wanting to have on around this time of day and this time of year. I don't like love throwing on like Saw. Like Saw's well and good. I got no problem with Saw, but I don't like just watch it. I like a nice romp, and I think Count Crowley would absolutely do that. All right, I am going to give you guys some recs for this week. These are the books I'm going to be checking out in no particular order. These are literally by what is most popular listed on leagueofcomicgeeks.com. By the way, a little shout out to Cover Price. Cover Price is the site I use for the graphics on the edited videos. Cover Price is a price guide that I highly recommend. They're an amazing set of dudes that literally has a price guide for your comic down to the minute. They aggregate like eBay and mycomicshop.com and My High Comics and every single sale and give you the value of the book. And it's a really cool site. And they have a great preview system for what books are coming out. But this week, I'm going with League of Comic Geeks because they have large images and I'm using my iPad. So the books I'm going to be checking out this week are going to be Detective Comics 1090, Nightwing number 119, new creative team for the first time, Superman number 19. Oh, wait, did I miss? Guys, I think I missed one of my 9. One of my 9 books didn't pop up. Nightwing 118, the conclusion of the Tom Taylor run with Bruno Redondo, also makes my top 9 of last week. For some reason, the image didn't save to my iPad. So that would be the 9th of 9 that I highly recommend last week. It is a beautiful ending to a beautiful saga that Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo started some time ago. Nightwing 119 is the new issue this week with a brand new team that I'm very excited to check out. We've got Superman 19. We've got Action Comics 1072. We've got that Absolute Wonder Woman number 1 I talked about earlier. X-Men number 6. Green Arrow number 17. The Avengers number 19. We got a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 3 from IDW. We got Void Rivals number 19 from number 13 from Robert Kirkman that I highly recommend from Image Comics. It's the Energon universe combining Transformers and G.I. Joe with brand new characters. That's fascinating. The Flash 14, The Incredible Hulk number 18, great horror book over at Marvel. Zatanna Bring Down the House number 5, a great Black Label book with Zatanna, one of my favorite characters. Harley Quinn 44, Iron Man number 1, brand new Iron Man at Marvel Comics. If you guys are into Iron Man, great new jumping on point, new team. Rook Exodus number 6, that is an Image book from the brand new Ghost in the Machine imprint that I'm enjoying quite a bit. X Factor number 3 with that beautiful throwback cover there. Batman the Brave and the Bold number 18, that's an anthology book with different artists and writers teaming up for different short stories in one comic. Spider-Boy number 12, John Constantine Hellblazer Dead in America number 10. That's one of my favorite Hellblazers of all time. 1 through 9 blew me away. Very excited for issue 10. Love Hellblazer. Love what they're doing with this Hunter S. Thompson tinged story over at DC. Green Lantern Dark number 1. Very good jumping on point if you're a Green Lantern fan. Scarlet Witch number 5. Dazzler number 2. Power Girl number 14. The Power Fantasy number 3 from Image. Death in the Family Robin Lives number 4. That's an interesting book because it's an Elseworld in which when Robin got killed with a crowbar by the Joker, but it was voted on by the fans. They called a 1-900 number and voted kill or let live. This is the alternate reality where he got to live and what that would have done to Batman and done things differently. We got Universal Monsters Frankenstein number 3. We got The Moon is Following Us number 2. Conan the Barbarian number 16. Werewolf by Night number 3. If you liked that Disney Plus special edition, highly recommend that comic. Spider Society number 3. Venom War Carnage number 3. We're wrapping up that Venom War over there. Highly recommend this book, by the way. DC Horror Presents number 1. If you ever wondered what a horror take on Superman was with the Justice League and all that, that's your book. We've also got Venom War Lethal Protector number 2, Alien Romulus number 1. That's going to be a fun book because I love that Alien Romulus film. Grommets, I mentioned earlier. Grommets number 5 is out this week. Spirits of Vengeance number 2. Moon Man number 5. That's a book written by Kid Cudi. Not even kidding. And it's pretty solid. Conquest 29.9 number 2. Lilo and Stitch number 6. If you have kids, if you want a nice all ages book, check out the Lilo and Stitch book from Dynamite. We've also got Thundercats Chitara number 4. Justice Runs in the Family. Adventures number 135. We also have the Tin Can Society number 2. Issue 1 made my top 9. It's a really cool modern reinterpretation of an Iron Man-esque character. We've also got this week to wrap us up. I think that is all the books that are my must-reads. The final one I'm going to plug, Dead Eyes, The Empty Frames, number 2 from Jerry Duggan, a very Deadpool-esque character, very sardonic, very sarcastic, very irreverent, but like a vigilante, and it's a brand new IP, so no ties to continuity, very easy read. All the Dead Eyes stuff I've really enjoyed. That, you lovelies, I believe is going to be today's show. We did last week's favorite comics. Sorry, Nightwing, you were meant to be in there. We did this week's most anticipated comics, those 30 or 40 or so books, plus there's probably like 10 or 15 more I'm going to read. Next week, hopefully Tuesday, maybe as late as Thursday, I'm going to be back with another live reviewing those books, and on we go, mixed with news and all sorts of stuff. Your homework this week, dear viewer, in the comments below to celebrate the 6 months of me getting this page going, I would love to hear what your favorite video or your favorite type of video has been. Do you like This Week in Comics more live? Do you like it more edited? Do you like my out of the theater reviews? Do you like my spoiler reviews? Do you like my coverage of shows week to week? I want to hear what is working for you because I'm really, really trying to get this to 50. I think 50 by the end of the year is a little ambitious, but maybe 50 by the end of January with all the Oscar stuff. But we're almost at 40, so it could happen, and then straight on to 100. At 50,000, I am going to do a 50 comic giveaway. We're going to do a contest on this page once I get 50K. So if you're new, don't subscribe. Incentive. Every one of the first 50,000 subscribers will be entered for that 50 comic giveaway. So hit that subscription bell. Leave a comment below. Let me know what your favorite jam has been, and let me know what you're liking about this page. Before we get out of here, I'm going to read some more comments. and it is hot. So this is out of pure love, just love, because I just want to stick my face in an AC. Oh, we got another super chat from the Human Tornado. Thanks for giving me something to watch while I smoke. Need you back on Break Room. Oh, man. I'm always happy to help someone with a little existentialism. Just having a little smoke, little middle distance stare. Very happy to help the Human Tornado. I haven't been on Break Room in a while, and I'd love to. Schedules just haven't lined up, but anytime they do, I got a lot of love for Break Room. They mean a lot to me. I'm going to see if there's any more super chats coming in. Man, did you accidentally hit the nail on the head with my current struggle to finish the story I've been working on for years. Brian L. Rodman, I love that Brian's the one that put in the super chat. And then I happen to accidentally be specific at what's going on. Because, art is impossible, and I think artists know how impossible it is, so we appreciate art differently than the average person complaining that things didn't go exactly as they wrote it in their head when they never wrote a thing in their life. And that's what's very different. And Shri D, as a writer, that feels cathartic to hear. If you've written a full page, much less 100 pages, you have done more than, I would say, 80% of people. People don't make stuff, and you make stuff, so you should be proud of yourself, and you should appreciate that. Executive Judge, $12, not $200, $12. If I was able to make $200 a video, I would have live graphics. And when I make $200 a video, there's going to be graphics for days. We're going to get there. This is just the beginning, you lovelies. Great bit as always. Thank you very much. Boy, be careful with your finger doing the top of the sound. Thank you, Captain. I appreciate that. Maybe this is why the TikTokers do their pinky out thing. It snowed here on Monday, Epiphany said. We're expecting a high of 38 degrees. Whoa. Can we switch? I don't like snow, but right now I'm sweating, so I would like it in this moment. Too hot not to run the AC. Yeah, it is dubious. Again, Charlie, thank you for the super chat. Christian and Principal, thank you. Robert Pruser, thank you again. I'm gonna catch back up. I promise. The static is back. Oh no, I hope it is better with this finger out. The channel is as old as my daughter. Oh no. Well, this channel started in the pandemic, and then I didn't use it for a few years. So unless your daughter is 6 months old, in which case, happy half year, and if she's as old as the channel, happy 4 years or whatever. Either way, Robert Pruser, I appreciate you. The Real McCoys, yet another nickname for this impossibly charming group of individuals I appreciate very much. Jake is the only person who can come in here and troll Coy. Yeah, that's right. I don't think it's Coy doing anything specific with the mic. It just sometimes statics out. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm gonna keep the pinky out. You're doing comic book God's work out there, Coy. Thank you, Shepherd62. It's been a while since I've been on Brick Room. I've been so busy and traveling and stuff. Coy Boys t-shirt. I do want to make t-shirts. I think the first t-shirt I want to make is an internet shirt. And then apparently a lot of people want a Hello You Lovely shirt, which I never expected to be a catchphrase. I just say it. So maybe a Hello You Lovelies. But Coy Boys is another great idea. Actually, you know what? If you're still here, there's 100 of you left, which is amazing. We got up to like 120 and there's still 100. Let me know in the comments below what t-shirt you'd like to see, because maybe that'll be something I do in the new year to get some merch going. And I'd appreciate knowing what people want, because I'll focus on that. I'm trying to get through the OG X-Men comics. What a good journey, Charlie, man. I love the OG X-Men comics. Coy, can you cosplay as Nightwing, please? I don't cosplay. I usually work cons, so I don't really have time, and I also don't really have the place to do it that makes sense, because I'm usually working in those places. Honestly, I think Gunn could do it justice directing also. Dude, anything Gunn does, I'm at least going to give a chance, because he has not steered me wrong before. Do I have a Goodreads Storygraph account? I do not. I get my comics from either the publisher or a comic store, mainly the comic store, but also the publishers, and I don't really use those sites. But Hoopla is it's a library app if you're new to comics. I finally had a Taylor egg and cheese today. Gina was right again. Good luck to 50K Coy. You know what? Taylor's always right. He's a genius. I appreciate that, Spider Sensei. Thank you very much for the super chat. Do I like Metro Boomin's comic? I do. I definitely think it feels like his music, which is really fun to say. Like, his art translates to his other art. So I dig it. It was a little different than I expected, but by the time I finished it, I was like, oh, I totally see what's going on there. Let's see. BC Talks has used cover price for over 2 years. That makes me very, very happy. Let's see. My mic is very choppy. I'm so sorry, you guys. Not a thing that I know what I'm doing with. Again, as we evolve, things will improve. But for now, I'm just happy to have a mic. We're taking steps. I think that is going to do it, you absolute lovelies. I appreciate you very, very much. That is going to be everything. Check out Hoopla. Check out your local comic store. Check out various places to read comics. I gave you some recs, gave you some news. You gave me some lovely super chats and some lovely kind words. I appreciate you, Koi Pond. Let me know in the comments below favorite type of video on this channel, and if there's any merch you'd want, what you want to see, what shirt you'd want to check out, etc. I appreciate you. This was a fun 100-degree super chat. I just read a super chat. This was a fun 100-degree live stream. I'm going to go put my head in the freezer and cool off and then read some comics like Astonishing. Man, I'm out of thoughts. Absolute Wonder Woman #1 is my first book of the week that I cannot wait to dive into. Much love to each and every one of you. I'll see you soon. Bye. I don't know how to leave. Let me leave.
Oh no.
Well, I got to say bless you on the way out.